遠く離れたって決して夢は終わらない
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Heal on 6, back again with another Shadowverse deck profile. Today is a deck profile you guys have been really asking for ever since the very first video of Shadowverse on the channel. Today we have our boy Eric Jung here today with his version of Forestcraft. Now, tell me, why did you choose Forest?
I choose Forest because I like the playstyle. It's a heavy combo playstyle. Also, I wanted to play something that not a lot of people were playing, and Forest and Haven, out of the two, I think Forest best suits what I wanted to play more. I'm not too heavy into control, which is kind of what Haven usually plays like, but yeah, mainly just the combo aspect. I really enjoy combo decks in card games.
Yes, sir. And you showed us a lot of good gameplay so far on the channel, so we're gonna go straight into the deck profile and see how you build your own deck. So Eric, going by your lowest play cost, show us how you play your deck.
Well, first of all, before that, we gotta start with the leader.
Yes,
obviously,
sir.
I'm playing Arya. I really wanted an Orisa, but I couldn't find it. But honestly, any leader will do. Arya right now, probably the best. Okay, starting from the lowest play cost, we're gonna play 3 fairy circles. What Fairy Circle does is it's 1 cost. All it does is put 3 fairy tokens into your extra area, so your back row, and you can have 5 in your back row. And fairy tokens are just 1 mana or like 1 play point. They're just 1/1s that come out. It'll be more relevant with your combo plays later on, and there are things that you can do in the deck that will get them a lot bigger than just 1/1s. We're playing 3 watering fairies, water fairies. It's a 1/1 for 1 that last words, it puts a fairy token into the EX, the back row, and then you can also evo it for 2 to play the Water Fairy Evo. We'll get to the Evo deck a bit later at the end. 3 Bellringer Angels. Honestly, Bellringer Angel, no explanation needed. It's just last word, draw a card, Evo for 2. It does something, but everyone knows what Bellringer Angel does. You don't have to go. 2 Fairy Whisperer. I really like 2. I don't think the 3rd one's necessary. All he does is, he's a 2 mana 1/1. You might think it's pretty bad for stat-wise, but he puts a fairy into play, and he also puts a fairy into the EX. Playing 3 archers. What Archer says is every time you play a follower or a follower spawn into your field, you just choose an enemy follower and you do it 1 damage. Very important into the Abysscraft matchups and the Swordcraft matchups, because they usually have like really small things to get rid of to target snipe. First legendary of the deck, we are playing triple Ancient Elf. Ancient Elf says fanfare, so when you play it, you choose a card on your board and you bounce it, and if you do, it gets +1/+1, and it also has 3 Blessed Fairy Dancer. It's a 2 mana or 2 play point 2/3 fanfare. It gives every pixie follower on your board and in your EX area +1/+1, so any fairies that you get off of the fairy circle, like in the EX, if you play this the following turn, they get +1/+1, so when you push them up, they're 2/2s. Really good. Not just tokens, it says any pixie follower, so as you can see, it also has pixie followers, but it doesn't give itself +1/+1. So if you have another one on the board and you play one, then they'll give the one that was already on the board +1/+1. And there's also another pixie follower in the deck that we'll get into later. That's also a pixie that is honestly kind of amazing that how well this synergizes with the deck. 2 Titania Sanctuary. It's an amulet, so Titania Sanctuary says, fanfare, give every pixie token, specifically token, not follower, +1/+1, and then while this card is on the field, all of my other pixie tokens get assails, and assail you can just attack your opponent's like unsuspended or like non-engaged followers. And then also as an added effect, if we're worried about missing the timing for buffing your fairy tokens, it also says whenever a pixie token is put onto the field, it gets +1/+1. So you're not missing out if you don't have pixie followers on the board prior. 3 Rose Gardener.
Yes.
This is honestly one of the best cards in the deck. It's a 3-mana 3 play point for 3/3. You'll find out why this card is so good like later on once we get to the evil deck. But this is honestly the best 3-drop in my opinion in Forest. 3 Elven Princess Mage.
Same scenario?
Same scenario. It's a pretty good card. I mean, it's 3 play points for a 3/3, and it's just kind of there as a body, but it's more important. Effect comes up when we evolve it, and we'll get to it at the evil deck like later on. This deck, or the deck I'm playing right now, we're not playing any 4-drops. I don't see really the need to play any 4-drops. I don't think there are too many good 4-drops in my opinion, so we're gonna go to the 5-drops. 5-drops, we are playing 3 Robin Hood. I know a lot of people, they probably don't like playing Robin Hood at a 3-of. I'm playing as a 3-of because I want to see it, and what Robin Hood does is on fanfare, so when he enters the battlefield, you choose an enemy follower and you deal it 4 damage. So it's like you play for 5, you choose some follower on the board, deal it 4 damage. It's really good into like the bigger bodies that we'll say mainly Dragoncraft has. Like Dragoncraft has so many big bodies, and you need to be able to out them like pretty quickly. So you could play it on turn 5 to just deal 4 damage or something and set up. But what I like to do is on like turn 6, he also has an added effect of you can pay 1 play point and arrest them to select another enemy follower on the board and deal it 4 damage. So you can on like turn 6 when you have 6 play points, or like just whenever you have 6 play points, you can double dip into Robin Hood. So you can go play Robin Hood for 5, pay 1, rest it, deal 4.
So it's effectively a body that does 8 damage.
It does 8 damage, and the best part about it is once it's on the board and they don't answer it, every turn for one play point, you can basically just have them deal 4 damage.
So anytime they drop a card, they
have to answer it, or else 4 damage, it's probably like halfway dead or dead. The only 6-drop that we are playing, best 6-drop in the game.
Reliable.
Aria, there she is. But this card is amazing. It's honestly the only 6-drop you probably need for at least set 1.
Yeah.
What Aria is she's a 6-drop, 5/5. She has ward, but fanfare she puts up to 9 fairy tokens.
So if your board's empty,
if your board is empty, you just go turn 6, play Aria. You get 4 tokens on the board, and then you get 5 on the EX to set up your end game.
yeah.
And as an added effect, while this card's on the board, all of your pixie followers have rush. So she's a pixie follower, she has rush. All the tokens that she plays, they're pixies, they get rush.
Well, your other pixies.
The other pixies, so she doesn't. Yeah,
She doesn't have rush, but your other pixies will have rush.
so like the tokens that she wants has rush. Blessed Fairy Dancer, she has rush when you play because she is also a pixie follower. Honestly,
So on turn 8, you can.
it is amazing. Yeah. We're only playing 1 7-drop. It is Lucifer.
The old reliable.
Reliable. First, 1 of 3 sets. Probably you should be playing Lucifer if you want to play like a more, I guess like mid-range to control variant. Mine is more mid-rangey. I like to be able to like control the board to some degree, but also have like an explosive turns to push and potentially kill. Lucifer is nice because we needed a filler between the 6-drop and the 8-drop, which we will go over in a bit. So I chose Lucifer. He's the best 7-drop that we have access to, and all he does is he has ward. He's a 6/7 body. He has ward, so he's a pretty big body to get rid of. He's pretty hard to get rid of too. He's pretty big. And at the end of the turn, you heal 4. You heal 4. So for like the matchups where they're rushing you down with like sword, you can just play this on 7, ward it up, and then gain 4 health at the end of your turn, and then. Usually swords shouldn't have too much to deal with it. If they are dealing with it, then they're probably training their whole board into it, which is cool. He also evils for 0, which is relevant once we get to the evil deck.
The MVP.
This is how you close out your games. The 8-drop 7/7 Rose Queen. So Fanfare, she chooses any amount of pixie followers in your EX area, and then she transforms them into Thornburst tokens. And what Thornburst is it's a 2 playpoint spell that says select an enemy leader or enemy follower on the board, and you just deal it 3 damage. And if you think dealing 3 damage wasn't, enough, it also draws you a card, which is absolutely amazing.
Kinda crazy.
It's 2 play points, deal 3 damage to anything, and it draws you a card, so you're never running low on cards. It's actually kind of ridiculous. It also has the effect of resting itself, and then you recover play points equal to the amount of Thornburst tokens in your extra area. So on turn 8, let's say you have 5 pixie followers in your EX area, you play Rose Queen for 8, you go from 8 to 0, then all your fairies get converted into Thornburst tokens. So you would have 5 Thornburst tokens, and then afterwards you would just rest this and gain 5 back.
Yep.
So you're effectively, on turn 8, if you have 5 fairy tokens in your EX area, you're playing this for basically 3, and then you have 5 play points left over. And with the 5 play points, you can start using the Thornburst to start pinging creatures on the board if you need to control the board, or ping their life total and draw cards to get closer to the end game. So, I mean, honestly, Rose Queen is amazing. It's just so good. It's just too good. So we're gonna go through the Evolve deck. We're only playing the 1 Ancient Elf Evolved. I personally, in this deck, I don't see a need to go into her more than one time. I haven't come into too many scenarios where her the second Evolve Ancient Elf would come up, and what Ancient Elf Evolve does is it's just it's the same thing as Ancient Elf, where except for her Evo form, she has 1 more health and 1 more attack, and as an added effect, on evolution, you can choose a card on your board and return it to the owner's hand, and then it gets +1/+1. So it's basically a carbon copy of Ancient Elf as an evolution. So
And it has ward.
Ancient Elf has ward, it has ward. It makes sense. It can potentially get up to a 5/5 ward body if you choose to balance one thing with the Ancient Elf and then one thing with the Ancient Elf Evolve when you evolve it. So I don't see the need to play more than 1 in this build at least, but I don't think the second one comes up. If you find space that you want to cut for some other card in the Evolve list, be my guest. I don't ever go into the second one. Archer Evo. So regular Archer. Every time you play a follower, it just deals 1 damage to any enemy follower. As the same way that a regular Archer does damage to enemy followers, Evolved Archer, it doesn't get any stronger, it doesn't get any beefier, but what it does do is whenever you play a follower, instead of choosing 1 enemy follower, you get to choose 2 and deal it 1 damage. So really important into like the Swordcraft matchups, where if you see the Archer and then you evil it early, you start playing bodies out, you can start picking away at the Swordcraft's board. And this, honestly, it helps, it helps later when you already did some damage to the enemy board from them trading into your warded cards, so you can just start sniping them off with the Archer Evolve. Like multiple things with the Archer Evolve. 2 Elven Princess Mage Evo. So going back to Elven Princess Mage.
Yes, the vanilla.
It's just a vanilla, but
Goes into.
But when you evolve it, it gives you 2 Fairy Wisp tokens, and what Fairy Wisps are, they're a 0-drop Pixie Follower token. So they're literally the same thing as a fairy, but instead of playing for 1, you can play for 0, which comes up with the next evolution card that we're going to get into, the Rose Gardener evolution. So Rose Gardener. The base form is basically a vanilla, just like Elven Princess Mage, but the evolution is where this card gets insane. Honestly, I want to play a third copy of it in the evolution deck, but I just can't find the space right now. I think everything in the Evil deck is too tight. What Rose Gardener says on evolution is it selects an enemy follower and just turns it to the opponent's hand. So like later on, you can just like play Rose Gardener for 3, evolve it for 1 to just bounce a problematic card to your opponent's hand, and you might say, well, they get to use it again. Yes, they do get to use it again, but they have to spend a turn playing that card, and if there's like a really big ward card that you can't get rid of, like by pinging it or by swinging to it, you can go into the Rose Gardener Evolve and bounce it to their hands and worry about it a different turn. By then, you should be able to find some way to deal with it. And as a added bonus, first time that we're gonna see this keyword combo. So combo just states what combo is it's just referring to how many cards you have played prior to doing this effect. So Rose Gardener has combo and then the number 3. So combo 3, so after you play 3 cards this turn, it gives you an added effect. And Rose Gardener's added effect is draw a card. So you can bounce something with the Rose Gardener when you evil it, and if you play 3 cards prior to it, it draws you a card. So it nets even after bouncing something to your opponent's hand. And if you paid attention, Elven Princess Mage, the evolution gives you 2 Fairy Wisp tokens, and they're 0 drops, and they put them on your EX area. So if you go Elven Princess Mage on turn 3 or 4 and you evil it and you get the 2 Fairy Wisps, if you have the Rose Gardener in hand the following turn, you can go Fairy Wisp
1.
That's 1 card played. Fairy Wisp again. That's 2 cards played. Then you play Rose Gardener.
That's 3.
That's the 3rd card. And then when you evo, you can bounce the card and then you get the draw immediately, which is just amazing. And they're both the 3 drops of the deck, so it's just insane how well Elven Princess Mage and Rose Gardener synergize on the deck. 2 Water Fairy, and Water Fairy is the 1-drop early on that says, it's a 1-drop 1/1 that says, last words, put a fairy token into your EX area. And you might think, it's alright, what does it do for its evo? Well, it evos for 2, and that might be a hefty cost, but like, if you don't have like a turn 2 play, you play Water Fairy for 1, then second turn, if you don't have another play, you can just pay the 2 to evil it. And what Water Fairy Evolution says is, on evolution, you get to play a fairy onto the board. And it still retains the last words, put a fairy token into the EX area, so...
If it dies.
Yeah, so if it dies, it just gets you another fairy. So if you don't have a turn 2 play, you just play this for 1, then turn 2, you evil it, and you get a fairy, and then if they have to, you know, if they need to kill it, then you get another one in the back to set up your future plays later on. I was playing 1 copy of it, but when I was playing and playtesting, the second copy, I just kind of wish I had it, so I decided to bump it up to 2 instead of the 1. Honestly, if you don't like this card, this is probably the most cuttable card in the Evolution deck if you want to play an extra copy of like Rose Gardener or Ancient Elf. Last 2 evolutions, we have Bellringer Angel Evolution and Lucifer Evo. Bellringer Angel, same thing as regular Bellringer, no explanation really needed. It has ward on evolution. It does 2 damage to something, so it's kind of nice to, if you need to like deal 2 damage to something early, let's say like a Swordcraft, like a Quick Blader or a Fervent Soldier or something. You can deal with it with Bellringer Angel, and it still has the ward, so they have to swing into it, and then last words, you draw the card back.
So you'll get something out of it.
You'll get something out of it, yeah. I had to make space for it. It's just so good as a 1-of. And our last card in the Evolution deck, Lucifer. So Lucifer gets to Evo for free, and when he does Evo, he becomes a Lucifer Evolved, and instead of Ward, Lucifer Evolve has Bane, and instead of healing 4 life to keep you alive, Lucifer goes on the offensive, and at the end of your start of your end phase, instead of healing 4, it deals 4 to each enemy leader instead.
You can either choose to go defensive or offensive.
Correct. And it also has Banes, which means anything that touches it, just it dies.
Yes.
And it gets bigger. It gets more attack. The health retains, so it's still a pretty big body, and they have to answer it, or else they're losing 4 health every turn. And you can either use Lucifer Evolve to just close out the games if you just need the last 4 damage, or you can use it as like a setup turn for your turn 7. You play Lucifer, but you're at a pretty healthy life total, so you just Evo it to Lucifer Evo, deal them the 4 damage, and then your following turn, if you have setup for Rose Queen, hopefully the Lucifer Evil did enough damage for you to be able to Rose Queen and then start paying them, cause to close out the game. And Rose Queen usually kills the opponent in like 2 turns, 2 rotations of Thornburst. And with that, that's it.
Yes, sir.
That's all of it.
Good old Forestcraft. So Eric, you showed off the deck pretty well. Not a lot of people are playing Forestcraft at the moment, but I do feel like it's a deck that's pretty damn strong.
I think it's pretty strong. I feel like it's pretty slept on also. I know people are like set 1, let's just play Dragon, let's just play a Sword. It's like the most brain dead decks that you can play. Forte does 7 damage, you can't target it. But honestly, if you want to play something fun for honestly a pretty cheap price, if you don't want to play the Lucifers, Forestcraft is pretty fun. There's also another variant of Forest that people do play around with in set 1. I personally don't like it. It's the Rhino Roach variant. It plays more of a combo style, and its goal is to like one-shot you. But this is the mid-range Forestcraft deck that I've come up with, or that I like playing around with, and it's been doing pretty well. I mean, as you guys can see in the exhibition matches that I do play, hopefully one day I'll try to make it to a finals.
Yes, sir.
We'll try our best.
Well, Eric, thank you so much for popping through. This was a deck profile people really been asking for, like actually been asking for, so I wanted to oblige by it. And this is a very strong deck, very cool looking deck, and hopefully you get to pop through tournaments and win with this deck.
Hopefully it gets better support.
Oh yeah, all comes that too, yeah. Eric, thank you for showing up. Thank you for your deck profile. And Eric, what channel you on?
What channel? I'm on Heal on 6, best channel in New York City.
Yes.
For every TCG game hardcover.
Yes, sir.